Good morning, everybody. How are you? I always say good morning, and you know, I don't know when you're watching this. It could be in the middle of the night for all I know. But I guess I have like a 50-50 chance that it's morning, right? So, good morning. Or good evening. Sorry I wasn't able to post a video earlier this week. I got caught up in a lot of things, chores and that sort of thing that I needed to catch up on. You know, life-related stuff. Oh, I got a new idea for the catification for those of you who aren't completely tired of my cats, but that'll be later on in the video. Don't forget, I'm putting chapters on here so you can just skip past all of the boring parts. In fact, if you want, you can just skip right to the end and it'll just go to the next video. I don't know what that next video is going to be. I'm still getting a lot of comments on my method for edge jointing a board on the table saw, and let me circle back to that real quickly and just explain just a little more detail about what my methodology is. I think that the confusion is that I used this curved cutaway, comically exaggerated example on my rip fence to make that jointed edge. And obviously, if a board is that warped and you're running it through the fence, at the end of the fence, it's gonna want to kind of come across. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for most boards that you get, like say this one, this is what the edge might look like when you get it from the store. It's really rough and it's not consistently bowed or warped, but it's like this all along. And if you tried to joint that edge to another edge, you wouldn't get a good fit. But all you gotta do is run this. You could even run a board really this long on a small rip fence and you would be able to get a square edge like this. It's gonna be good enough to glue up panels. I've used this technique for years. And also I got a question from Janine who asks probably a dumb question. Remember, there are no dumb questions on this channel, but oh, those birds, you hear the birds again? Those birds will be the death of me. So she asks, it's probably a dumb question, but why is it called jointing when it's squaring the edge of a board? That is a really good question. Honestly, I'm not really sure why it's called jointing, other than it prepares the edge so you can make a better joint. But joining the edge of one board to the edge of another board isn't the only reason why you would joint the edge of a board. You might just want to square off the edges and have them look nice. And the word jointing is so close to the word joining. Whenever I say it, I have to really emphasize that T so that I'm clear. And the complement to jointing is planing, and a planing would be jointing the face of a board on that, along that plane, I guess. But you could use a jointer to square up that face too. I don't know, there's a lot of jargon like that in woodworking. I think that it would make more sense, it'd be clearer to people if we just talked about squaring up a board. I'm going to assume that some people in my audience do have a good answer, and if you do, just leave it down below. It's the ABCs of Micro J. H is for half lap joint. On Woodworking for Mere Mortals, I try to keep most of my woodworking joinery simple and basic, and usually that means rabbets and dados. Those two joints will get you by on just about any project. But if you can make rabbets and dados, there's one other joint that I think everybody should know, and that's the half lap joint. And all it is just two rabbets or two dados that cut halfway through two boards that mesh together. You can use half laps to make a really strong corner joint like this, or if you never needed to lengthen a board, you could use a half lap joint to join two boards together this way. It's the kind of joint that's only possible because of the strength of modern wood glue. Hey, my last ABCs of woodworking was all about glue. To make half lap joints, all you gotta do is set up a dado stack in your table saw and start making passes that go halfway through the thickness of the wood. You'll wanna run a couple of tests to make sure that when the two pieces fit together, that they're flush. I've got another video that'll explain half lap joints a little bit more. I'll include a link in the description as well as a link up in one of the cards. This is probably my favorite half lap project ever. This is what I call the half lap handy cart. This is part of my weekend workshop course, but the entire project is made using half lap joints. And once you make one of these things, you'll wonder why you didn't make it sooner, and you have to do that little spin too. And don't forget, if you are interested in setting up a complete workshop, no matter how small your space is, check out theweekendworkshop.com. Real quick, a lot of people were worried about Bubbles when that shot in the last video where she rolled off of the catwalk. She's perfectly fine. It scared me when it happened because I was like, oh, Bubbles, and it was really awkward and she was kind of humiliated by the whole thing. But you know, cats could fall from like a mile and they're fine. Which also brings me to another common question I had about the catwalks that I'm making for the cats, and people thought, well, since she rolled off, that those are probably too narrow for cats, and they're actually not. You can buy those same kind of cat runways, the catwalks, retail, and they're 6 inches wide, so mine are exactly 6 inches, a little bit more if you include the trim on there. So that's plenty wide for cats to scoot around on. I mean, I figure I've seen them walk on the fence, and that's just a 2x4, so 3.5 inches wide, and they get along on that just fine. It's just at first I think they're a little clumsy on there until they get used to it. The biggest problem right now is that the whole catwalk system isn't complete. There's no exit, and that's one thing cats don't like, is being able to go into some place and not have a way out other than the way you came in. So once that connects to the higher version and then I have another way down, I think they'll get more use out of it. Who knows, they're cats. Real quickly, I want to show you what I have in mind for phase 4, and I want to make a tree, but I need your help with this. What I want to do is put a tree, like an actual kind of tree right here that could potentially go all the way up to the ceiling and maybe have a couple of platforms on it. I have one tree in my yard. Well, actually we have two. We have the oak tree. Actually we have the palm tree in the back, but this tree is a tree that we don't even like, and we'll eventually gonna chop this tree down once we get this all landscaped. That's on our list of things to do. But what I was thinking about is like this trunk right here, just chopping it off down here, and this thing's got this branch, this branch, this branch. I could potentially put some platforms in there and it'll go up basically as high as I need it. Obviously I would rather remove the leaves and cut off the little sharp bits, but I've already seen the cats, or at least Bubbles, climbs up this just fine. So my questions for any of you is, have you ever built a project using a tree, green lumber basically? And what are some of the pitfalls that I might encounter? That particular tree doesn't have like a thick bark on it, so I don't have to really worry about that drying and falling off and making a mess. My next concern is insects. Do you think that might be a problem that I might bring, you know, an insect infested? I don't think it's infested, but I don't want to bring insects into the house, obviously. It looks like it's pretty clean, and it's better than if I was to just grab a tree that had fallen, you know, and been on the ground for a long time and would be rotting. My last one is more of a logistical concern, is how to make that stay in place up in that room. I mean, obviously it's going to need some sort of a weighted base, because cats will just jump right on something and it'll just, but they also have that store-bought tree, you know, with the carpet all over it, and I mean, Cobra will just dive onto that and the whole thing rocks back and forth. So I don't think it necessarily needs a lot of weight in it. I mean, I don't really want to make, you know, a concrete base for it. I think that would be too heavy. Plus, I think if the tree would start to dry out and shrink, it would just come loose from that. I don't know. I'm not sure if like attaching individual branches to the wall might work, but I'm not even sure how I would do that. There's just a lot of those kind of questions that come up. But if I look online, this is a pretty common thing. There are these trees you can get for your cats. Anyways, those are my initial thoughts. I just thought I would ask you guys to see if you have any pointers. Just let me know down in the comments. See what I'm doing here? I'm breaking a photography rule. I've got a tree growing out of my head. I should stand over here, but this way I can put pictures over. Well, yeah, if I stand here, I can put the pictures over. You get it. Okay, let's look at some more pictures from you awesome woodworkers who participated in the Woodworking Summer Jam Heatwave. This is a percussion instrument from Scott Bishop. So what he did here is, when he got the theme Heatwave, he immediately thought of his ocean drum, the picture on the right. He made that one a while ago, and he says it makes sounds kind of like waves on the ocean. So for the Summer Jam, he decided to make that tambourine there on the left because it has a hot sound. But I really love it. I don't know if I've seen a tambourine in that shape before. Usually you see those ones like this, you know, where whack it against the hip. It's the instrument that they usually give to the lead vocalist who doesn't really play any instruments. This next project is from Kevin Horeca, and it's got a nice story. He was thinking of heat wave, he was thinking of a hammock, and so he decided to make this hammock for his cat. One of his cats is paralyzed, so his rear legs don't work, so he wanted to make the hammock low to the ground so that he could get up in there. It's all constructed out of pine, and he said his wife sewed together the hammock part for it. This just looks really cool. That's the fully mobile cat using the hammock in this picture. He said that the paralyzed one hasn't worked up the courage to get into it yet, but I hope he does. This next project is from Kimberly Medley. What a nice name. I love the way that flows. She calls this dolphin watching. She made this simple box from some poplar that she had lying around and then made a cove cutting sled to make the waves on the lid. It's a great looking box. I love the vibe of it and the color, everything about it. Great job, Kimberly. And what says heat wave better than ice cream? So this is from Larry Gillette. He says it's an idea from his wife. He said he's not happy with it, but she loves it. I think it looks great. It's also a great project because it was the first time he used his dado set. He got to make his very first rabbit joints in this project. Bonus points because he included one of my stickers in the picture. That ice cream looks really good. And finally, McKay Colini noticed rings on his table from condensation due to heat, so he made some coasters. He said this is his first project since finding my videos and the first time working with hardwood. He said there's still a lot of mistakes, but I'm super excited about what I learned. Wow, these look awesome. The inlay on these is just beautiful. I love the way you did the mitered edges so it makes the concentric squares. Is that what you call it? Concentric? Something like that. Thank you for participating. Thank you all for participating. More to come. Oh wow, I didn't even look at myself. Look at that. I'm completely blown out. I'm not reshooting all of that. Let's go down here. About like that. There. The sun shifted. Anyways, I wanted to let you all know that if you want to take a look at all of the participants in the Summer Jam, I'll put a link down in the description.